Hi guys, welcome to Manhood Explained. My name is Camille and today is 27th of February 2020. Welcome to live number 62. If you ever doubt yourself or your value and you think that you're invisible and no one really, pays attention to you, I want to destroy this belief completely today. If you're watching this video, if you're watching this as a recording, not live, I want you to go to the comments below because I'm gonna put few links and I want you to watch first two especially. First of all, you're gonna watch the first one, which will show you the whole raw footage of whatever we're gonna be talking about. And second, it's gonna be a link to kind of video that'll explain it all and give you the interview, short interview with the person that kind of make this whole thing happen. But for those of you who are watching this live or you just don't want to go and watch other things, I'm going to tell you in brief, a few sentences what happened. There is a video of a stage that was kind of rehearsal or something when there's like 10 or 12 very young girls dressed in this ballerina's clothes, and they're doing some choreography dance. And at the far left, looking from the audience perspective, there's a girl. She looks like 2 or something like this, and she is crying on the floor. She doesn't want to dance, and it looks like she's not having a great time. When it happens for a few seconds, then right there on the stage shows a huge guy who's basically running towards her, holding a baby, a toddler, in his arms or on his hand. Basically, he runs towards her, and he grabs her hand, and he just starts dancing and doing this whole crazy choreography with all of them on stage. She immediately stops crying. She just looks at him, and he's just trying to lead her in all of this, and then he helps her finish the dance, and then after it all, he takes her from the stage when everybody's just going off stage. And this is hilarious to watch, and a really entertaining video. That it was viral, I think, like 2 years ago. So some of you might watch that some time ago. Although it's a very funny video to watch. The whole craziness of him being on stage dancing with young girls, brilliant. But when I watched this video, it kind of struck me that the first time in my life I kind of consciously observed something like this and been drawn to this conclusion. If you look what happened, really, you can see that this guy, even though it's completely ridiculous what he did, he was the only person that could do this. He was the only one who could pull this thing off. Why? Because first of all, he is his father of this girl. No one else would be able to do this. Not any guy or any woman who was there. They would not be able to do this exactly as he did with the result that he provided. Even if his wife would get there, I think it would be completely different thing. I don't know if how the whole vibe in their family goes, but I think it would be a completely different experience. But when he got there, she just stopped crying. And that's amazing because it tells me, it kind of pushed me towards this conclusion that for some of the people, you will be the only one who will be able to play this specific role for them. And for so many of you, especially because I'm talking from the men's perspective on everything here, although it's gonna be relatable to everyone. But looking from men's perspective, many of us, we just hid it in the shadows. We don't really want to stand out. We're just there, I don't know. We just there. But we don't really realize that so many of us, so many people are looking at us and observing and looking up to us. So if you ever had this experience that you think that you don't matter, you just have to drop it, because from the moment you were born, there was someone watching. Whether they're your parents, your grandparents, whether you're a guy right now, whether they're your kids or your husband, your wife, or whoever, there's always someone's watching. And look, it can take different forms and different relationships. but there's always someone who sees value in you. And there's always someone for whom you're the only person who can fit this role. There may be someone who try to, just jump into your boots, but it's not going to be the same. Maybe there's someone who try to be a substitute for you, but it's not going to work. Even though it might be a good experience, but it's not going to be you. And it changes the whole perspective if you try to look at this from your own experience. Something relatable to every one of us are our parents. If you had a childhood, happy as I did, and then you can see that the parents are there, everything's cool, but then maybe for some reason, maybe someone passed away, maybe your parents split, and then someone else showed up and played the role of your father or your mother. That's not the same, and you always wanted that your father, your mother to play this role, not somebody else. So that's why many people who are even adopted, they are looking for the biological parents. Why? Because we need this closure. We kind of follow this feeling that we want a person who's supposed to play this role to play it. And if we can't, we look for some kind of closure on that. So from our perspective, being a guy in your relationship, in your family, in your friendships, I want you to kind of look at this thing and ask yourself, who is observing you? Who is watching? Maybe you're not even aware. Maybe you're not really thinking about it. But if you're married, or if you're in partnership of any kind, this person who looks at you will always want you to play this role. Especially if you're the first partner, as it was in my case. When we got married, I was 20, Kasia was 24, and we kind of grew up together. I was her first boyfriend, and she was my first girlfriend. We grew up together. So now when we look at our marriage for so many years, there's no one who can feel those shoes, as I wanted to be her, and it gets much easier to understand when something goes wrong, or maybe someone gets sick, or maybe your relationship is in danger. Then you see that you don't want anyone to replace her or him. It all becomes clear that you want this person to play this role. And it may be situation different, like with parents, as we talked, or now relationship. It may be some relationship or friendship, or like with your grandparents. I had this privilege basically to live with my grandparents for 3 years because I wanted to do technical high school. I've got something like this in Poland, and there was no such kind of school in the town that we were living as a family. So I moved to Warsaw, to our capital, and I lived in my grandparents' house for 3 years. And we had a lot of arguments because my grandma is a really tough person. But we found, after some time, we found the language to talk, to use, to communicate. This, we built this bridge of communication, and basically we got close to each other. And now when I see that I'm the only grandchild that lived with them, and now it's my privilege to talk to them, to call them, especially now when I'm on different continent, and I call them like every 2 days or something like this. And when they say, thank you for thinking and remembering about us, because it means a lot to us that you call and we can talk to you, I feel really privileged. But that's I can experience this just because I understand what kind of role I play, and I want to invest in it. There may be people from your friends, maybe even for you can be close just for some specific amount of time, shorter or longer, doesn't matter. But if you look close enough, there's always someone watching, and you may have impact on their life that will last for years. So this is what I want you to think about. Who is there? Who is watching? And what does it mean? What can I do? And what they really need from me, that that I could play this role for them. And if you look close enough, for those of you who are scared, and you say, oh my God, I know, but it's so much pressure, I don't know how to deal with this. You're just overthinking this. Because listen, Who of you remembers what did you got for your birthday when you were 14th? Probably no one, except maybe you had this birthday 2 days ago, then you'll remember. But otherwise, no one. But what you will remember, if your parents or your best friends were there, and if that was a great experience. Because the whole idea is that in most of the cases, it will be about being there, not doing some crazy stunts. So you've got to understand that if you're alive, there's always someone watching. And for some of them, not for everyone, but for some of them, you'll be the only person that will be able to jump on this stage and do this crazy thing, just dancing on the stage and building this experience that will last for decades. So this is what I want you to take from this video. Open your eyes. Look around and see who is watching, who is observing you, who is looking up to you. And then if you see that this is a very special role that you play in this person's life, and you decide to follow it, just consciously start investing in them. Just give them time, be there, and be consistent in it. Because then you'll understand how you can change somebody's life, how your simply being there can create memories that'll sometimes be there for a lifetime. And then you'll understand what does it really mean that you are a man. Because then you'll start to see that doing this and seeing somebody's life changed and someone feeling so secure and taken care of, it will produce in you pride and this feel of fulfillment that will be so out of body experience. You'd feel like you're on drugs, that you're just levitating above the floor, because that's how it means to us guys to be a leader and to have this impact on somebody's life. And in that exact moment, you'll understand what does manhood really means. So open your eyes and start investing. It will completely flip your life upside down, and you will never be able to come back to your old self. Trust me. So think about it, do something about it. Please do something about it and enjoy it. And see you tomorrow.